Oh, a big crossover grab. Oh my goodness, the 2 number 6 hit it. Did he get unhooked? They are unhooked. Yadowski emerged unscathed. We were just harshly. Oh, a big hard.
What a night it's going to be here at the 2010 World Figure 8 Championship at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Alongside my broadcast partner, Speedrome News Director Scott Nye, I'm Jonathan Bird, and we want to welcome you to our World Figure 8 Network coverage of the 34th running of the greatest figure 8 race on the planet here at this historic facility. You may have watched the Indianapolis Speedrome's coverage of the World Figure 8 Championship many, many times in the past, but if you haven't been a part of our coverage in the past, Scott and I, these folks that will be watching tonight have a huge field of cars getting ready to take the green flag, a historic field of cars. What do they have to look forward to tonight?
That's right. The world of figure 8 racing is centered here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Drivers from all over the country, from California, New York, Florida, and everywhere in between are going to try to dare the crossover and miss getting hit there. 450 laps plus 900 plus times through the crossover they got to survive. Here it's one of the most demanding races on the planet. That's why we call it the greatest figure 8 race on the planet.
We've got 6 former champions in the field tonight representing 15 of the previous 33 races held here. But the pole sitter tonight is not a World Figure 8 champion. He overtook a 6-time World Figure 8 champion, Jack Dawsey. What a battle during pole qualifying it was.
That's right. These two drivers went back and forth all season long here at the Speedrome for fast time, and they did it again today for the World Figure 8 Championship. Jack took fast time, Mark took it back, then Jack, and then finally Mark gets his first career pole. Let's see if these two could streak away in this battle that continues from all year long.
The front row will be tough. Jack will be tough to beat, although it's been 11 years since he's visited Victory Lane here at the World Figure 8 Championship. And they'll have a huge field of cars to contend with tonight, as we have those cars representing 7 different states here tonight.
That's right. We have champions from all across the country. Roger Maynor is here from New York. He's an 8-time champion up at the Riverhead Raceway. Hasn't been here in a few years. He's real excited to be here. We have champions, as we mentioned earlier, from California, from Florida, from Michigan, and here at the Speedrome, all ready to vie for this $20,000 first place prize.
It's really a World Figure 8 Championship indeed. These cars are getting ready. You see them gridding us behind us right now over the next few minutes. And to get a closer look as to these cars that have a yearning for the crossover challenges ahead of them, we welcome our 3rd member of this World Figure 8 Network crew, Paul Small.
Not only does it take a special breed of driver to compete in the World Figure 8 Championship, it takes a special breed of race car. The World Figure 8 race car has a lot of noticeable features. Probably the one that's most striking are these huge rear side panels made of Lexan and this rear spoiler. These are designed to provide maximum downforce to the rear end of the race car as it turns left and right. The horsepower of these cars is glued to the racetrack courtesy of these Goodyear racing tires. Notice that it's a slick tire with no grooves on it for maximum traction on the asphalt surface. The driver compartment is a very busy place, and it's also a very beefy place. Notice all of the heavy bar padding and the heavy roll cage construction and the specially designed racing seat to keep these drivers safe as they go through the crossover close to 1,000 times in the course of the 3 hours of a World Figure 8 Championship. Engines are primarily small block Chevrolets, 350 cubic inches, heavily modified with aftermarket parts for maximum horsepower. And the second most striking thing on these World Figure 8 cars is this front bumper. It's big, it's beefy, it'll get used a lot over the distance. There's a saying in figure 8 racing, if your front bumper's dented, you're going fast enough. If your rear bumper's dented, you ain't.
Fantastic machines indeed that have captured the imaginations of over 700 men and women who have gone through the crossover here at the World Figure 8 Championship. When we come back, we'll have the starting grid and the cars rolling off the grid. You're watching the 34th annual World Figure 8 Championship on the World Figure 8 Network.
Professional video production at reasonable rates. Call Wood Innovative Group 435-9579 or visit our website at wigtv.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see the cars on their way to grid, and the 34th Annual World Figure 8 Championship is just about to get underway. And here is tonight's starting lineup. We have a long list of alternates, including Charles Hearn, John Botts, David Lee Bird, Neil Hearn, Dane Laster, Jack Smith, Rick Howard, Rick Catron, Eddie Rogers, Jeff Armour, Chad Sizemore, Bobby Whitaker, Jeff Swinford, Mike Burgess, Alan Hargraves, Larry Hahn, Roger Maynor, Rod Proctor, Seth Nistick, and Wayne Calkins. And those cars will be added eventually as cars drop out of the race. The official starting lineup taking the green flag tonight. On the outside of row number 16 will be the 32 of Manny Aguilar. On the 31st position, the original number 22 is Chris Green. 15th row on the outside, Flat Rock Speedway track champion Jeremy Vanderhoof. And on the 29th position, the two-time Flat Rock champion, Michigan Invader Robbie Loving. Starting 28th, Frosty, it's reliable Steve Frost in the 71. And in the 48, it's Mr. Smooth, Speedy TP. Starting 26 from Louisville, Kentucky, car 16, Jeff Harmon. And on the 25th position, the 44 of the Harmonator, Chris Harmon. In the 24th position, the ultimate veteran of the Speedrome stock division, it's Big Bad Bob Johnson in the 93. Starting 23rd, number 8, it's Mr. Art Grew. In the 22nd position, Jimmy Kirby in the 11. And in the 21st position, it's Showtime California, Jay Henson in the 1. Starting 20th, the 88 World Figure 8 champion, the 9 of Leonard Basham. And the 52 in the 19th position, the 52 of the Frog, Jeremy Miller. Starting 18th, it's Raymond Unconscious Johnson from Louisville, Kentucky. And in 17th, the 1J machine of the 2006 pole sitter, Jeff Shackelford. 16th is the 80 of Butch Winters from Taylorsville, Kentucky. And the 15th, car number 18, the fastest Superstock qualifier, the 18 of Nigel Peters. In the 14th position, he won a World Figure 8 Championship qualifying race. In the 14th position is the 2 of Austin Tunney. And in the 13th position, it's the 42 Hitman Tony Anderson from Kentucky. In the 12th position, it's the outlaw Jesse Tunney in the 57T. And on the 11th position, 41, the Big Cat of Casey White. The top 10 starters, the reigning World Figure 8 champion, the 5 of Ben Tunney. And on the inside of row number 5, it's DG3, Donnie Garrigus III in the 77. Starting in the 8th position, the 3-time World Figure 8 champion in the 4T is the man, Bruce Tunney. And starting in the 7th position, it's the Mac Attack, the 2-time World Figure 8 champion, car 72, Curtis McMurtry. Starting 6th, the 2007 World Figure 8 champion, the 33 is Mr. Doug Gregg. And on the inside of row number 3, starting in the 5th position, Mr. Excitement number 69, R.J. Norton Jr. The top 4 starts off with this car number 11. It's Mr. Gary Bedell in the 11. And starting 3rd, the 00 of Dangerous Junior, Corey Turner, 00 Corey Turner. The front row tonight, the 6-time World Figure 8 champion and the 7-time Speedrome Late Model champion, it's the ultimate weapon, the number 20 of Jack Dawsey Jr. And starting on the pole, the winner of the Big Nasty Creeper World Figure 8 Pole Award. He won $200 and a Big Nasty Creeper courtesy of Mike and Stephanie Marcy. The number 17T with a qualifying time of 17.014. The 2009 late model track champion, the 17T of the Marksman, Mark Tunney. And that is the starting lineup. Scott and I, a ton of cars here tonight.
That's right, and if you're a motorsports fan, and especially a Figure 8 fan, you are salivating over this field of cars right here. Champions from all across the country, and as you can see on our screen, what a beautifully prepared field of cars there we have ready for this race, going for the big money and the distinct honor of winning the World Championship.
Everybody at this standing room only capacity crowd on their feet, waving to their favorite drivers. The rules of the race are very simple, Scott and I.
That's right. These guys are competing on the Figure 8 course. There'll be 2 left-hand turns, 2 right-hand turns going around this famous fifth mile, but more importantly, twice a lap, they'll have to avoid disaster at the crossover as these guys charge at each other at speeds nearing 100 miles an hour going through the crossover. Now this is a timed event right here, 3 hours long, not just like a 50 lapper like most regular night shows. So the person that completes the most laps will win the race tonight, and amazingly enough, a guy that does not start the race or finish the race can win it because of those number of laps completed.
And whoever completes the most laps at those into those 3 hours, they win the race. 6 former champions in the field tonight, Scott and I.
That's right, and what a great resume they have. 15 wins, I believe, are represented by these 6 guys, led by 6-time champion Jack Dawsey Jr. On the front row, we have Doug Gregg, Bruce Tunney, Ben Tunney, Curtis McMurtry, all in the field tonight. Those champions are going to try to add another to their resume, but there's so many more talented drivers looking to earn their first world title tonight.
We'll talk more about some other awards tonight. The field has been shown. The 1 to go signal from flagman Ronnie Sheedy. We'll get ready to start this fantastic event alongside Scott and I, Jonathan Bird. We're welcoming you here to the World Figure 8 Championship. We're excited to have you here. The cars are getting ready to get shown the 1 to go signal as they come out of the north end for one of the final times tonight before their blood pressure goes up about 50 points.
As you can see on this pace lap, they're nearing each other at the crossover, just idling around here warming the motors up. So you know when that green flag flies here momentarily that there's going to be chaos all over this racetrack, especially in that crossover.
15 World Figure 8 Championships of the 33 previous races are represented in this field. The front row has 6 of them. Jack Dawsey Jr., Mark Tunney wants his first one. Reigning World Figure 8 champion Ben Tunney is in the field. He wants to defend that title. It's only happened 4 times. Here comes the field going slowly. The fireworks are launched. The green flag flies, and we're underway in the 34th annual World Figure 8 Championship here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Side by side through the north end as the fireworks light up the sky. It's going to be Mark Tunney in the 17, followed by the 20 of Jack Dawsey Jr. Lap number 1 in the books. Corey Turner in the 00 in 3rd place. 69, R.J. Norton Jr. side by side with him. Crossover traffic. They get through it still side by side, 1st and 2nd position.
That's right, these guys.
We had trouble in the north end. Gary Bedell in the 11 and Bruce Tunney got together. Bruce Tunney goes backwards immediately.
Yeah, it looked like when they got back going there, Ben Tunney caught the squeeze there in between Casey White and Bruce Tunney. We'll see if anything develops with this front end damage.
Still side by side, the 1st and 2nd place cars. The 17 of Mark Tunney, the 20 of Jack Dawsey Jr. Lots of crossover traffic. I think Dawsey will emerged successful in leading the lap. So the 3rd lap of the race goes to Jack Dawsey Jr. R.J. Norton fighting for that 3rd position in the number 69 machine. Dawsey had a check up at the crossover just a bit. That allows Mark Tunney to get a closer look at the leader now. Here they go. There's lots more crossover traffic now. They'll get through it. There's a big pile up in the north end. They keep going though, but Dawsey emerges victorious for that battle of that lap.
These 5 talented drivers are out on an island all alone right there, and they're trying to have to cut through the pack. These guys in the pack don't want to let them go early because they don't want to lose a lap, but yet here they are at the crossover.
And Jupiter J. Henson's sideways out of the 2nd corner. He gets it going again. He'll have to stop at the crossover. You see him on the left side of your screen in the number 1 machine.
He was one of those guys that was a victim of that 5-car pack. He started to charge in there, realized he wasn't going to make it, hit the brakes, got tapped from behind, and spun around.
And now we have the Butch Winters machine, the 80, turned backwards by the 41 of Casey White. So Butch is facing the wrong direction, and Casey is held up. He's going to lose a lap early, the 2010 Pepsi 100 champion here at the Indianapolis Speedrome.
Whoa!
So Doug Gregg barely got through the crossover there.
That's right. Up in front, Jack Dawsey Jr. has taken that lead. He's got R.J. Norton Jr. right behind him. These 2 are 2 of the hardest charging drivers in the field tonight. They're going to look to try to run away, but this crossover may not let them. You got to watch right there.
Unbelievable crossover action. There's just 3 and 4 abreast through the crossover every time. I don't know how the leaders get through. Almost taking out the 5 of Ben Tunney is the 20 machine of Jack Dawsey Jr. So on lap number 8, Jack Dawsey Jr., the leader. Now R.J. Norton will go to the inside and take a position. He will not get it. He'll keep going forward for it though. Dawsey on the outside. Now another crossover decision in the maelstrom there in the crossover.
That's right. This pack of 5 has now been reduced to 4 as Doug Gregg has fallen back from that. Almost gets clipped in the crossover there, splitting Jeff Shackelford and Bob Johnson. Jack Dawsey, R.J. Norton Jr. separated themselves by a car length or 2 with Corey Turner and Mark Tunney right there ready to race.
They had a tiptoe through the crossover that time. Now Jack gingerly through the crossover, making sure everybody's going to see it.
Oh!
And Super J hits it. Showtime. And Corey Turner in the double Z.
Another big crash.
And a big crash. Jeremy Vanderhoof. Wayne Calkins gets through in the 55 somehow. There's damage on the 6 machine on your screen right now. Jeremy Vanderhoof, the 2010 Flat Rock Speedway Figure 8 champion.
That's right. That was one crash that led to another crash that led to another crash. Jeremy Vanderhoof and Raymond Unconscious Johnson hitting at the crossover, but they both continue.
We see some alternates on the track now. Rod Proctor and Roger Maynor get to the track. So the California champion and the New York champion on the track now. Rod Proctor to 21, Roger Maynor to 28. Good to have those guys back.
Yeah, that's pretty cool right there, Jonathan, seeing guys from each coast of the country pull on the track right there at the same time here at the Indianapolis Speedrome.
The leader is Jack Dawsey Jr. He's going to look at me putting down the 44 machine of Chris Harmon a lap down. So the 2008 Rookie of the Year is going to perhaps lose a lap here. It's amazing how Dawsey continues to get through the crossover. R.J. Norton in the 69 continuously on his bumper.
Yeah, Jack's putting that car down one lap, driven by Chris Harmon, a former Dawsey car right there. He's seen that one before and set in the seat. Now he's putting that grand champion a lap down.
And now we see RJ going to take the inside, and RJ Norton has the lead as the 44 of Chris Harmon and the 28 of Roger Maynor made it really difficult for Jack to stay on the accelerator.
That's right. Jack Dawsey had to hesitate there for just one split second, and RJ Norton was ready to pounce to take the lead.
All right, so R.J. Norton, 69, your leader. The second place machine of the 20 of Jack Dawsey. Corey Turner still running strong in the 3rd position. 4th place looks to be the number 17 of, Mark Tunney. And Mark Tunney in the crossover is taken care of by the 44. No, it's the 42 of the Hitman, Tony Anderson. The 88 of Manny Aguilar. Jeff Harmon is scooting backwards. Can they all get going? But Mark Tunney's going to lose a valuable time and probably lost a lap there.
That's right. Again, that's another one of those deals where one small intersection interaction causes 2 or 3 more to chain reaction off of that. Mark Tunney may have took the worst of that, even though his car's still running, lost a lot of distance on the track.
Lap 16. We've completed the first 5 minutes and 37 seconds of this 3-hour event. And there's a big tussle in the north end. You see it on your screen. 1 car, 2 car, 7 cars. Dawsey's one of those cars. He is stopped. Can he get going? I think he's connected to a machine there. It's the 00 Corey Turner. And our first caution comes at 5 minutes and 55 seconds complete on lap number 17. R.J. Norton Jr., your leader, and Jack Dawsey Jr., who was running second, has a problem in the north end, turn number 4 with about 7 cars.
Yeah, I didn't see how that whole thing started, but that was a talented pack over there tangled up. You had world champions Jack Dawsey Jr. and Leonard Basham, as well as World Figure 8 Championship runner-up Jeff Shackelford, and 3rd place finisher a few years back, Corey Turner. Some great drivers getting tangled up in that mess.
Well, we'll have to catch our breath here. Gary Bedell's being pushed off the racetrack right now, so another early front runner has got a problem, and he's going to have to pit. We see the 55 machine of Wayne Calkins pit, 8 of Art Grew pits, Bedell in the pits.
Yeah, Bedell started there on the 2nd row with a fast car, but he's been stalled out there near the crossover for the last few minutes. Didn't look like there was any physical damage on the car. Must be an electrical or mechanical issue inside the car causing it to be pushed off.
So with 7 minutes complete there, you see on your screen lap number 18, the drivers are on a short yellow where we'll see maybe some of those cars come back on, but Jack Dawsey Jr. way back there now. We'll see what happens with him. It's very early, Scott. Lots of time left in this event to make up for that. We've seen the same thing happen last year, early in the event last year. Ben Tunney loses a lap early, came back, and now he's a reigning World Figure 8 champion.
That's right. With this such a long-distance race, with all the mayhem that goes on in the crossover, the leaderboard ebbs and flows with drivers moving up and down, and you notice the guys going pit side. That's something you may see with the big boys on Sunday afternoon, as we see Mark Tunney, the pole sitter, heading pit side, maybe to fix some of that damage from that tangle he was in. As we were getting to, you see the big boys on Sunday making those pit stops. You're seeing them here tonight in the world of Figure 8 racing. The World Figure 8 Championship has all the best stars here and the best crews in the pit area.
Jeremy Vanderhoof and the 11 of Jimmy Kirby emerged from the pits, so they'll keep going some more here at the racetrack. Speedrome.com is the best source for your information for the world's home of the figure eight. Speedrome.com has pictures, video highlights, point standings, up-to-the-minute results, schedules, plus so much more. If you need information for the track, log on right now to the record-breaking and record-setting Speedrome.com.
Yeah, and after you watch this race here tonight, you need to go to speedrome.com and check out the full list of results from this event, plus thousands of pictures from the weekend. It's just an incredible place to mark history from the World Figure Eight Championship. Speedrome.com.
The pace truck is pulled off. I'm anticipating a green flag this time by. In fact, the green flies. Here we go. 69, R.J. Norton Jr. 4T of Bruce Tunney in second. Jesse Tunney's being shown in third position in the 57. Green flag underway, lap 21.
That's right. Those two guys up front have been rivals for years out here at the Speedrome. Here they are leading this race early on. We've had a few of our early leaders have trouble. Mark Tunney just now coming back on the track. Jack Dawsey sifted back in the middle of the pack. Let's see how this works out over this next stretch.
Mark Tunney loses another lap as he comes on. Had to wait for the traffic to come through the crossover. It's Norton. It's Tunney in the 4. It's Chris Harmon in that 44 in that blue machine. He's a lap down. We saw that damage early. We saw the 80 of Butch Winters running with those gentlemen as well. He's a lap down. And RJ gets to the crossover one more time.
As you mentioned, those guys, including Mark Tunney, are a lap or so down, but that doesn't necessarily mark them out here at this race.
You'll see on your screen Rod Proctor in that 21. He had a spin coming out of the fourth turn. Tony Anderson in the 42 had to make evasive maneuvers to get around him. So did Jeff Shackelford through the crossover that time.
I don't know how they didn't get through there without ending up on the front stretch wall. It was that close.
This is the 25th lap. It's nose to tail for the lead. The 69 of R.J. Norton and the 4 of Bruce Tunney.
You'll notice how open air helps these guys out as they head to the crossover there. Norton and Tunney are meeting Doug Gregg and Jack Dawsey at the crossover right there. Even though those two were leading earlier, they're stuck in that pack. They just can't get the momentum rolling right now as Norton carves his way through the intersection.
57 of Jesse Tunney in third place. I'm going to give fourth place perhaps to his brother of the 5 of Min Tunney as the crossover is crazy again for the leaders. You saw RJ had to get on the brakes hard to miss the crossover. Jeff Shackelford will get through just barely. You saw him on your screen. But there go the leaders by right there through the north end on lap number 27.
And something else you can notice by this race being most unique than any of the country, those alternates have now came onto the track, but the guys that they replaced have also came back on the track. So we now have more cars running in the event than we did when the race started. That's amazing.
That is amazing. We're down to the 5th alternate. We saw Larry Hahn just enter the track. So a lot of good things going on in this race so far. We got Donnie Garrigus the third. Jesse Tunney, the third place car in the second corner. He's going the wrong way. He gets hit by the 42 of Anderson. Ben Tunney has stopped as well, so perhaps the fourth place car. And we've had damage for Corey Turner. He's going to the pits. 6 cars on your screen. Austin Tunney, all the Tunneys right there in having problems. The 16 of Jeff Armour. Curtis McMurtry was going the wrong way. We're still under green. The crossover. The 52 machine of Jeremy Miller has stopped. Rod Proctor has stopped. The 21 machine. Are those guys going to get moving? Here they go. Austin, can he get moving to 2? All cars moving now. 8 cars abreast through the crossover.
Wow, this is crazy right here. It's unbelievable these guys have kept at this pace, and both of those big wrecks we were just talking about have cleared up magically, and we're back under green.
So unofficially in the third place now, after we see what happened, R.J. Norton Jr., let's go to the lead. He's the leader. He flashes by on your screen right there. Second place is the 4 machine of Bruce Tunney. The third place machine is unofficially the number 9 of Leonard Basham, the 88 World Figure 8 champion.
That's right. With all this chaos going on, we saw guys receive lots of damage that didn't take them out, but the guy we did see leave the track was the 00 of Corey Turner. His right front suspension was folded under. He must have clipped those cars in that accident there in turn 2. They'll be back there fixing it in the pit area right now.
But that will end his chances of emerging victorious in this 34th edition of the greatest figure 8 race on the planet. Lap 33 for the leaders. We have a lead change. The 4 of Bruce Tunney has taken the lead into the north end. He's taken the lead over the 69 of R.J. Norton Jr. So give the 3-time World Figure 8 Championship winner the lead. Robbie Loving spins out turn number 4. So 13 minutes almost complete here. And I don't know going where in this race? It is absolute mayhem. There's cars everywhere on this racing surface.
It's unbelievable to even imagine that these guys are going to keep up with
Doug
this
Gregg
race.
barely gets through. Dossie almost gets through about 8 cars. Ben Tunney almost rams into the 93 of Bob Johnson.
Wow.
Doug Gregg flashes through. Dossie in the 20 right there. You just saw it. And a problem in the north end. Jeremy Miller in the 52. The 8 of Art Grew. They're nose to nose, and they may be hooked up. We'll see if maybe the 52 machine. And they are hooked up, Scott and I.
That's right. Those guys, Miller, one of the favorites for the Superstock Award tonight, paying $5,000. We'll talk about that a little later. He was tangled up with the 8 Art Grew, who finished second in that series run last year.
Jeremy Miller won one of the Jonathan Bird's World Figure 8 qualifying races the night before. Oh! In the 5, the 42 of the Hitman, Tony Anderson, lived up to his name as they try to get through the crossover together. The caution is out, and we'll see if Ben Tunney gets away out of that car. He may not have very much damage, but he will take it to the pits. We're going to check on the 42 of the Hitman, Tony Anderson. But what a hit there at the crossover, our first major collision tonight.
That's right, and unfortunately it was only a matter of time before something like that was going to happen. You saw on the screen all the chaos that was going on as you see Anderson leave the track. Ben Tunney was headed northbound. There was a pack of about 8 cars headed southbound. Ben turned his car at a 45-degree angle to try to knife through that intersection and just ran out of time, and that's exactly what happens when 2 cars at 70 or 80 miles an hour connect right there at the crossover.
So the reigning World Figure 8 champion hits to the pits, and also does the 28 machine of Roger Maynard, the 8-time Riverhead Speedway from Long Island, New York, heads to the pits. But the reigning World Figure 8 champion, Ben Tunney, his reign appears to be over tonight, as that will probably be maybe a minor fix, but we don't know what the extent of the damage was. They took a pretty hard hit there at the crossover.
That's right. They're going to look at things, maybe some front suspension damage, maybe the radiator got damaged in that, and him being in the pit area may change this streak we have going of 5 different winners in a row that we've had, and now Ben is out. Most likely his chances are done, but they're going to try to get back. Let's look at the gate. I think Tunney may be over there.
That does look like the 5 machine of Ben Tunney, but on your screen, that's Ronnie Sheedy. He's waving the green flag for the leaders. It's father and son side by side. The 4 of Bruce Tunney, the 17. Oh, there's something. Jack Dossie's backwards in the north end. He is spun out coming out of the 4th corner, and I think he's going to have to see what happens. He may leave this race. There seems to be a problem with that car right now.
It looks like something in the
He's
rear.
got a flat left
He's
rear.
got a flat left rear tire, and hopefully nothing's damaged in the rear end of that car. They could change that tire and him lose 3 or 4 laps and get back into the fight. But ever since Jack got caught in that tangle in turn 4, he's been behind.
Oh, the crossover, and the 55 of Wade Calkins clips the 80 of Butch Winters, and then he almost takes out his teammate going into the first turn, the 57 of Seth Nistuck. Cars are moving. I was going to say the 11-year bad luck roll of Jack Dossie Jr. seems to be going on yet another year, and I don't believe. Oh, Jeff Shackelford has had a right front damage. You see him on your screen. He's trying to get to the pits. The 1 of Jeff Shackelford has suspension damage. There's fluid on the racetrack, and we are under caution, perhaps for the 88 machine of Manny Aguilar as well, that is stalled at the crossover.
Yeah, I just caught the end of that. Shackelford hit the back end of the 88 car of Manny Aguilar. You see how the rear end's kind of bunched up right there. Manny was hit from behind by Shackelford. Aguilar was just involved in that deal with Dossie just a lap or so ago, so Manny was trying to get back going and had contact with 2 different guys.
So with almost 17 minutes complete, 42 laps on the board for Bruce Tunney, 69 RJ Norton. They are side by side for the next restart.
I know I said it before, but I'm going to say it one more time. I do not know how these guys could keep up this incredible pace that they're going right here.
Well, Jack Dossie makes it back onto the track, as does the 77 of Donnie Garrigus III. While they take the hook to the Manny Aguilar machine, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You're watching the 34th Annual World Figure 8 Championship on the World Figure 8 Network. Back here at the World Figure 8 Championship in 2010, the 34th annual edition of the greatest figure 8 race on the planet. On lap number 45, the green flag flies, and RJ Norton Jr. will take the lead from the 4 of Bruce Tunney.
Something we saw just before we went to break was Dossie coming back on the track. That yellow flag gave his crew a chance to change that tire very quickly, so that's kept his chances of not falling out of the contention for this win.
RJ gets the crossover through the 57 machine of Seth Nistuk. We see Mike Burgess making his first appearance, so another alternate makes to the track here. Through the crossover there, the leaders had to miss the 9 of Leonard Basham, so the third place machine of Leonard Basham and the leader of the 69 of RJ Norton meeting at the crossover now. RJ gets through easily, as does Basham. Ben Tunney has come back as well onto the racetrack, so we see the 5 of Ben Tunney back on the facility. And now, right in front of the crossover, it's the 55 of Wayne Calkins and the 57 of Jesse Tunney. It was very small collision, but a collision nonetheless. We'll see if Jesse can get refired. Can't get the car out of gear right there. I think Wayne might be stalled. Yes, he's waving. He's saying, I do not have fire. Please make this race stop so I can get off. And the flagmen do comply with his wishes. We do go under caution here with 20 minutes and 32 seconds complete on lap number 50 with RJ Norton Jr. leading. We go caution for the 55 of Florida's Wayne Calkins.
Yeah, even though that interaction there in the crossover was very low speed, very minimal damage on the two cars, you've seen the nuance of figure 8 racing right there, that there's two stalled cars caused all the other cars in the track to have to change their pattern here on the figure 8 course, which leads to more damage.
Scott and I know this, you'll add this DVD to your collection for sure. If you want to order the official DVD for the 34th Annual World Figure 8 Championship to relieve all the magic of this 3-hour test of the man and machine and add this permanent piece of history to your video library, it's just $20 plus $5 shipping and handling. You can charge by phone by calling 317-353-8206, or you can order at speedrome.com.
You're definitely going to want to get a copy of this race on DVD because there's been so much action so far. I guarantee you'll have to watch it 2 and 3 times to catch all the mayhem that has happened so far.
Just like your favorite movie.
That's right. Pause, rewind, and relive.
All right, here we go. We're getting ready for another restart. It's the lap 51 restart. It's Norton and Tunney again, side by side. RJ on the outside going into one. No restart as there is still yellow flag waving. No start that time. We see Downey Garrigus the third come back on the racetrack, and also Jeff Swinford, the number 3 machine, has entered to the field now.
That's right. Also in the last few laps, we've seen alternates Alan Hargraves and Chad Sizemore join the fray.
Green flag now does fly. We are underway here at the greatest figure 8 race on the planet, the 3-time world figure 8 champion, the 4 of Bruce Tunney. He'll emerge with the lead going through the south end here. Oh my goodness! Alan Hargraves put his car 10 feet in the air as he collided with the 21 of Rod Proctor and the 3 of Jeff Swinford.
That's right, and it looks like Proctor's car's got some heavy damage right there on the left side, the way it's tilted over there. Can't get a good view of it exactly, but you could see the car lisping there in the crossover as Swinford and Proctor and Alan Hargraves were involved in that melee.
Alan Hargraves has some damage to the front. I think it's maybe gotten to the radiator. There's fluid coming from that machine. There's fluid coming from the 3 machine of Jeff Swinford and the 21 machine of the West Coast champion, the California 21 machine of Rod Proctor, who now gets the car fired, and he's going to probably pull off. So not too bad, Scott and I. Maybe just a couple cosmetic damages and he'll be back.
Yeah, hopefully it's not as bad as it looks. Maybe they could put a tire on there, maybe fix a little bit of damage, get him right back underway. You see Swinford there on the screen. He's a rookie here in the World Figure 8 Championship. He comes from the Anderson area, lives up in Noblesville, just came onto the track just moments ago as an alternate. I don't know how many laps he made before he got in that crack, but he definitely got a welcome right here to the World Figure 8 Championship.
Well, Scott and I, in big-time racing, they like to say cautions breed cautions, and we seem to have had quite a few cautions. We haven't really had these guys get into their rhythm, not so much so far.
That's right. The start, even though chaotic, it kept a nice rolling pace. A few minor skirmishes got back going rather quickly, but now we've had 3 or 4 cautions in a row, so we're going to see how this breaks up. Sooner or later, they're going to get into another long run, and as we mentioned, it's been chaos from the start.
The 82 of Jeff Armour now heads his way onto the racetrack, the next alternate in line. So more cars keep coming onto the racetrack. Jesse Tunney's back on the racetrack as well. We see the Art Grew machine, then the 8 come as well. He'll be coming through as soon as the field gets by, but we are under caution for the 5th time, 6th time perhaps already here in the 34th World Figure 8 Championship. Wow, Jesse Tunney's got a big door caved in on the right side there.
That's right, and that's the deal with the alternates here. This race just keeps going, doesn't give them a chance to relax. Normal races, you have 8 or 10 cars fall out, it gets a little thinner, guys sort of relax a bit, but here with the alternates coming in, it just never seems to stop the action.
And I just counted the cars on the machine at this point on lap number 55. There are 33 cars on the track right now.
Right, and as we were talking about earlier, this race has grown in size. We started with 32 on the track. Now we have even more coming out of the pit area. The race just keeps getting bigger, crazier, and wilder at the World Figure 8 Championship.
Swinford's going to exit stage right. That's going to let the 55 machine of Wayne Calkins. He's also going to get back onto the racetrack. So 33 again, still on the racetrack. 25 minutes, 25 seconds have elapsed in this 3-hour event. Your leader is the 4 of Bruce Tunney, the 3-time World Figure 8 champion. Second place is the 69 machine of R.J. Norton Jr. We are still showing Leonard Basham in 3rd position. Oh, I'm sorry, the 33 now of Doug Gregg. So we did happen to make that comment that we thought Doug was moving along pretty well. As we think we might have a restart here. The leaders are going to have a big hunk of crossover to get through, and the green flag flies. We're back underway on lap number 57.
Yeah, up there up front, you see running in that 3rd spot is the 72 of Curtis McMurtry. I don't know where he's shaking out right now, but he's elevated himself up there towards the front. The 2-time World Figure 8 champion looks to not have much damage on his car so far in this event.
Bruce Tunney through the crossover there in the 4 machine. Austin Tunney has stalled at the north end loop. Let's see if he gets that car moving again. Speedy Teepee in the 48 underway as well. Oh, Jeff Harmon had to do a loop-de-loop as the whole field came right at him.
Yeah, he had to make a choice whether to lose a lap or head to the pit area on 2 tow trucks. He took the earlier.
Lap number 60.
Whoa!
Oh, my goodness, Jeremy Miller in the 52. How did you get through the crossover there? He leapt through it. He's the frog. Oh, my goodness. Raymond Unconscious Johnson gets to the side of 69 of R.J. Norton Jr. He's trying to get a lap back. He lost earlier in this event. But he hits him. He give the chicken wing to the 2nd place running machine.
Yeah, I was just about to mention. Big
Doug Gregg, how did you get through the crossover in the 33?
I was just getting ready to mention Raymond Johnson. This guy runs down in southern Indiana, northern Kentucky. He's an icon of figure 8 racing down there at the Sportsdrome Speedway. Always entertaining, puts on a great show going for the front, and he has the nickname of Unconscious.
There's about 16 cars on either half of the racetrack. Oh, Butch Winters had a slam on the brakes, or he was going to cause another huge collision there. Norton gets through the crossover that time as well. Dossie flashes through. He's back on race. Oh, Ben Tunney in the 5, the 33 of Doug Gregg. How do they get through as well? Norton has to take evasive maneuvers as well.
That's right. He's lost about 8 car lengths to Bruce Tunney, your leader. He's furiously trying to gather that back up. The 69 R.J. Norton going to run for all it's worth here tonight.
I can't tell you, folks, I've been witnessing this race for 28 of my 34 years, and I still jump out of my seat every time the crossover even comes close to getting through. Oh! How? Robbie Loving in the 16 to the 80 of Butch Winters. They have a collision at the crossover, and I don't know how Bruce Tunney and Doug Gregg got through all that as well. Butch Winters scoots back. Loving keeps going. These cars are unbelievably unstoppable.
That's right. Butch Winters knifed through an intersection that had 5 abreast. He made it through the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th car blasted him right there in the left rear, flattening his tires. He goes pit side.
Pit side for the 80 of Butch Winters. Oh, my goodness! How did they get through? The 80 of Eddie Rogers, who just came on the racetrack, missed 6 cars in the crossover.
Welcome to your very first lap of your very first World Figure 8 Championship, Eddie Rogers in car 80.
Still, Bruce Tunney leads. It's amazing. 66 laps complete.
And in that trade-off of car leaving, car coming on, the 80 of Butch Winters went off the track. We sent another number 80 on and Eddie Rogers. The field just keeps getting bigger.
Speedy Teepee kind of does a circle there on the south end there as he got punted a little bit out of the 2nd corner. 4 cars, 5 cars abreast. Donnie Garrigus the 3rd gets through. You see on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, how crazy this crossover maelstrom can be.
This is incredible. Once we've had those 2 or 3, 4 cautions right there in the row, we've went right back up to full speed ahead, crossover, intersection, interaction, all over the track.
67 laps complete. We have a third position change. Right now, the scoring monitor is showing unofficially the 44 of Chris Harmon in third place, unofficially perhaps 1 lap down. He may have gotten a lap back somewhere, we don't know, but that's what our scoring shows at 4, 3, 2, 1. 30 minutes of this event has been completed, 68 laps complete. Bruce Tunney, your leader.
Chris Harmon's a former rookie of this race, and in this year's his 3rd start. He's been in contention every year he's ran. He is the son of Rance Harmon, who was the first non-Speedrome driver to ever win the world title in 1986.
There's a lot of smoke at the south end as I look down, and all the cars came out of it okay, so we'll keep racing there.
It looked like Jay Henson was turned around right there. He got on the gas pretty hard to get spun back around to get going. Crash averted right there.
This is the 17th race that Bruce Tunney has led in his World Figure 8 Championship career. If he leads 59 laps tonight, he'll move into 1,700 laps completed. He is the 2nd all-time laps led leader here in the World Figure 8 Championship.
And I tell you what, he's going to have to earn those 50-some laps here tonight because he's in heavy traffic at every moment.
He's got 8 cars behind him, about 7 cars in front of him. Johnson almost gets taken out in the crossover. McMurtry gets through. I don't know how that happens. The 44 machine gets through as well.
Dawsey!
4 or 5 cars trying to take him out at the crossover.
I seen that one coming before it happened. I don't know how he didn't get plastered right there at the crossover.
There are literally 8 cars abreast through the crossover that cars have to miss. I don't know how they missed them.
The way this pace is going right here, Jonathan, the way the crossover is going, I don't know if anybody's going to finish this race.
I don't know if I'm going to finish this race.
Dawsey's had to dive through that crossover with 4, 5, 6 abreast the last few laps. He's feverishly trying to make up ground he lost earlier in the race when he got tangled up off turn 4.
Even through the north end and all this, Bruce Tunney only has a 5 car length advantage over the 69 of R.J. Norton Jr. Ben Tunney tries to get around him. He's trying to get to his Uncle Bruce now to get one of those laps back that he had lost earlier with all the collisions, especially. Oh, in the second corner, we just saw Leonard Basham go off the air 5 feet off the ground with Curtis McMurtry. So the 88 World Figure 8 champion facing the wrong way in the infield.
Yeah.
And there's the 82 machine on your screen of Jeff Armour. His right front has been taken out some way. It's flat. He'll see if he can make it back to the pits.
Dawsey tight at the crossover, almost gets plastered once again.
So does Chris Harmon, almost getting plastered. The 3rd place machine with 75 laps complete. Tunney gets through. Mark Tunney gets through. Back to the crossover one more time. We see the 5 of Ben Tunney getting around his uncle. So give a lap back to Ben Tunney. Jesse Tunney, his brother in the 57 machine, has gotten through as well as they almost take out the 16 of Robbie Loving after having made up that lap.
Well, somebody else right there with your leader, Bruce Tunney, we was talking about earlier, Raymond Johnson tied at the crossover. Bruce gets rear-ended by Raymond Johnson right there. Johnson lost a lap or so early in that wreck, but he's kept pace with Bruce Tunney here for about 5 or 10 minutes here. He looks really fast. If he could get back on the lead lap in a car he's driving for the very first time, he could be a contender for the win tonight.
3 cars separate. Oh, and Raymond had caught just Johnson. He got up on 2 wheels coming out of the second corner. He hit up the 92 machine of Rich Catron.
And how much did that slow Raymond down? None.
None. This is the World Figure 8 Championship. This is the aerial World Figure 8 Championship. I have not seen so many cars airborne in this race as I have seen tonight.
Right, and the strange thing is you talk to these guys that have been veterans of this sport for a long time, and you may think they'd say, oh, I hope it calms down, it gets easier. No, they love it when the intersection is wild and crazy. It just brings out the driver in all of them.
Oh, Jay Henson had to hit the brakes, and then everybody else had to hit the brakes for him. In the south end, Wayne Calkins, the 55 machine, and the 13 of Dane Laster, and the 16 of Robbie Loving, as Dane Laster makes his first entrance into the World Figure 8 Championship.
And I just saw him come on the track, Jonathan. I think he made it 2 or 3 turns before he was involved in an incident.
He'll keep soldiering on, though, as he goes to the north end. 81 laps complete. We've got, what is it?
Bruce Tunney is involved in a wreck out there in the middle of the track.
Oh, you are correct. R.J. Norton has the lead of this race, so I don't think he got the 59 laps. R.J. Norton, your new leader, as we don't know what's happened, but you see at the top of your screen next to the 15 of Jack Smith. That's the 4 of Bruce Tunney.
I didn't see what happened either, Jonathan, but he's shielded from us to see what kind of damage he has. But obviously it's big because he's not moving whatsoever.
He's losing lap after lap. The race course is green, so he can't get off this racetrack. He has lost the fire under the hood of that machine. So the 3-time World Figure 8 champion looks to be out of this event, out of contention at least for this event. As crazy as this race goes, I don't know what could happen. So R.J. Norton, your leader, second place on your screen is the 44 of Chris Harmon.
Yeah, and it's almost deja vu there for Bruce, because last year he led during the first 100 laps of this race, got caught up at the crossover around this same time and took him right out.
Oh, and Bob Johnson and the 1 of Jay Hinton, the bottom of your screen, get through a crazy wrecks there.
That's right. That was a veteran move and a lucky move there for Bob Johnson not to splatter Jay Henson right there in the right side door.
Let's give third place to the 33 of Doug Gregg now on lap number 85 with 35 minutes and 35 seconds complete.
That's right. Norton's popped back out front after Bruce has fallen out there. RJ's talked about this race all his life. He's dreamed of winning it. Right now he's in the lead. Don't count your chickens before they're hatched, but Norton's out front. He's running rather well, but the traffic is so intense. And as you saw with Bruce Tunney, just takes a split second and you're done.
As successful as R.J. Norton Jr. has been in his Figure 8 career, in the World Figure 8 Championship, he has not been too lucky. This is only the second race that he has led in his World Figure 8 career.
That's right, and a lot of people try to give RJ advice. RJ's a hard-charging guy. They try to say, hey, be patient in this race. It's a long race, but RJ knows he has to go with what he's got. He's going to go 110% every single lap all the way to the finish, and if he does manage to make it all the way to the finish, he's going to win this thing big.
Still those 4 cars there on the top of your screen. Jesse Tunney has come to a stop as well, right behind his Uncle Bruce. So there's a problem with the 57 machine of the 2008 runner-up.
Yeah, and I don't think there was one particular thing to put him there. I think it was a mirage of of damage right there. You've seen the door smashed in. The front end looks a little wobbly. I can't tell what all's going on, but Jesse's car has quit just the same as Bruce right there by the west end of the track.
Austin will get through the crossover there in the 2. Oh, there he goes, the 15 of Jack Smith. He'll get off the track there with a tilted left front and a flat left front. So
yeah, he got on the track as an alternate. I don't think he completed very many laps either.
That's in your screen. You see the spinning machine of the 57 of Seth Nistick. He took a loop-de-loop there out of the second corner. We keep going on lap number 90.
Seth has been either in or near several incidents so far tonight. Even though the luck's been bad, it's been good because he's still running.
We are under caution as there probably is just too many cars who have lost the fire. We probably need to do something about all these machines that have stopped on the racetrack. So with 37 minutes and 37 seconds complete, 90 laps have been in the books. The 69 of R.J. Norton Jr., your leader, the 44 of Chris Harmon in second place, and the 33 machine of Doug Gregg. Unofficially, those are your top 3.
Wow, Bruce's car's getting pushed off right there, so obviously no fire in that machine. They're going to go back to the pit area and take a look at that, see if they can get it fired back up, but he's lost a lot of laps, Jonathan.
He's lost a lot of laps, and it's quite amazing what this race means to everybody as they spend 364 days every year so that they can get to this next one day to compete in this World Figure 8 Championship.
That's right. These drivers compete for track championships at raceways all over the country, trying to win main events, accumulate points to win that title, but there is no season championship involved here. It's one night, big money, and being the distinct honor of being world champion is their goal when they get here.
The Kenny's Auto Sales Highest Finishing Superstock Award is what we want to talk about next. $5,000 goes to the highest finishing World Figure 8 Superstock car. It's a bonus to that driver who can complete the most in our World Figure 8 Superstock division.
That's right. Last year we introduced this $5,000 award. It was a $1,000 bonus in the past, but last year at $5,000, we saw an incredible race all the way down to the end with Matt Clark winning the $5,000. Art Grew from Louisville, Kentucky, almost won it, had some troubles late on, finished second in it. It was a great battle all the way to the end. Both those drivers had a chance at winning $5,000, and they weren't even in the starting lineup when the race began.
And unofficially right now, looking at the cars on the racetrack, we know Nigel Peters was the fastest Super Stock Award. He won the Big Nasty Creeper Fastest Super Stock Award and a $100 bonus. I'm going to unofficially put Nigel Peters somewhere in the top right now for that $5,000 bonus.
Yeah, the guys we have on track right now, Nigel stopped a few times but been out there to complete a lot of laps. Grew made the starting field this year for the very first time. He's made a lot of laps so far tonight. And Larry Hahn, who got onto the track just minutes into the event as being the fifth alternate, has kept the motor rolling and been good here. So I would say those three are probably hovering around those top three positions in the Super Stock race.
There was a Super Stocker we saw get pushed off also during this caution period. That was the 11 of the four-time stock champion here at the Indianapolis Speedrome, Jimmy Kirby. So Jimmy Kirby out of the 34th Annual World Figure 8 Championship. Some more alternates have made it to the racetrack. We see the 13H of Florida's Neil Hearn to third, the 29 machine of David Lee Bird, the wild thing on track. So two more alternates on the racetrack as we've lost a couple more cars.
Bird was the winner of our Super Stock Award the first 2 years we ever had it.
All right, green flag flies away, and with 40 minutes and 37 seconds complete, it's R.J. Norton Jr. on lap number 94 complete. Your leader through the south end on this restart.
Norton has Chris Harmon right there on his back bumper. Chris is the champion at the Sportsdrome Speedway. If there was a Mount Rushmore down there for figure 8 drivers, his face would be on it. He's won so many races in that area, but he looks to add this jewel to his crown tonight.
Unofficially, we've had an update for second place. As Scott and I mentioned earlier, the two-time World Figure 8 champion, the 72 of Curtis McMurtry, is running up there. Now he's in the third position. So unofficially, I believe these three cars might be on the lead lap as R.J. Norton Jr. in the 69 weaves his way through the crossover maelstrom.
Yeah, R.J. Norton was almost not in the lead and almost not on the lead lap right there after that narrow miss right there at the crossover.
Curtis McMurtry, 72, is in third place. So 96 laps complete. We think maybe the top three cars are in the lead lap. It is such a crazy, zany mess to keep these cars going. We've got a great staff here who are following these cars to give us the great scoring that we do have here.
That's right, and boy, is it a hard job with all the craziness that's been going on so far.
Through the crossover, RJ, oh, he goes left, he goes right, and he gets through the crossover one more time, and there's a battle between the 72, another, it's a crossover, there you see on your screen the 16 of Jeff Harmon, the 93 of Bob Johnson. They have stopped here, and I believe we saw Harmon now, he's moving, he's going to get out of the way. Can Johnson move? Yes, they're under fire, so no harm, no foul, just a couple laps lost.
I got a good look at that one, Jonathan. Chris Harmon slowed down the crossover. Curtis McMurtry shot through for second place. Jeff Harmon tried to follow his brother Chris through. He got collected by Bob Johnson right there with both of them resting on the track for a lap, but both now have rejoined the race.
We were talking before the race, Scott and I, you and I, about potential winners of this race. You mentioned the 72 of Curtis McMurtry to be your pick. We had so much going on at the start of this race, we couldn't go to our picks, but I know that was one that you made.
That's right, and Curtis is just a quiet guy that goes underneath the radar. A lot of these big, long races, you don't see him up front always in the first stages, and then all of a sudden, wow, he's right there at the end.
100 laps complete now. 100 laps on the board. Your leader, the 69 of R.J. Norton Jr., 43 minutes in the books for this great race. Doug Gregg has spun out at turn number 2.
I think he's got more problems than what we're seeing right there. Just minutes ago, Jonathan, I seen him down in the north end of the track going very slowly, but he got back up to speed, so maybe it's an issue of electrical or whatever.
Oh, a big crossover crash! The 016 of Raymond Unconscious Johnson, the 52 of Jeremy Miller. Bruce Honey has been back out of the racetrack, and he's stuck behind the frog in the 52 machine, and we're under caution. But the Unconscious Johnson, he's still going, though.
Yeah, Jack Dawsey Jr. was almost bottled up in the middle of that as well. I seen him have to make evasive maneuvers to stay out of that, and Bruce Dunny could not have been back on the track very long when he got caught in that tangle.
Bruce will get going again, it looks like. But there's a big bumper on the racetrack there. That might be Jeremy Miller's front. Well, it could be Raymond's bumper. He may have to come off the racetrack.
And as you can see there, track official Jerry Gully trying to push him back so he can get through the gate. But Miller's front end looked askew right there, like maybe he's got some suspension damage as that big bumper gets dragged off the track.
So another collision at the crossover between Raymond Unconscious Johnson, the 52, of Jeremy the Frog Miller from Michigan, a two-time Jonathan Bird Sizzling 6 qualifying race winner here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. 45 minutes we're coming upon, lap 103, as we are looking to complete that. R.J. Norton Jr., your leader. 72 of Curtis McMurtry in second place, right on R.J.'s bumper.
Yeah, and that was another classic figure 8 wreck right there. Usually one or two cars tangle, and then it's the third, fourth, or fifth person that's involved in it that gets the majority of the damage, because there's very rarely just a single car wreck here in the world of figure 8 racing.
As we continue counting down the seconds and the minutes for this race, we want to talk about the 400 lap club here at the World Figure 8 Championship. It's a special one. It shows a mark of consistency and excellence in the 3-hour-long contest. The all-time leader is Rodney Sizemore. He's not in this race tonight, but he has finished at least 400 laps on 9 different occasions. In this race, 7 times we see Jack Dawsey and Doug Gregg, and 5 times completer of the 400 lap club, Bruce Tunney. 4 times was Curtis McMurtry and Jeff Shackelford. 3 times Tony Anderson, Ben Tunney. We also see Jeremy Miller has finished 400 in this race on 2 different occasions. We'll see if he can get back out and maybe try to keep turning some laps, as has Leonard Basham and Donnie Garrigus III. Also, Corey Turner, R.J. Norton Jr., Jesse Tunney, and Chris Harmon all have done it 1 time. So altogether, there's 49 members in the 400 lap club. 14 of those gentlemen are in this 34th annual World Figure 8 Championship.
That's right. Most of these races go over the 400 lap mark, finish somewhere in the 450, 460 range. So getting to 400 laps is just a symbol of being around at the finish.
Coming off of the track right now on the hook is that 8-time Riverhead Speedway champion, number 28 at the bottom of your screen there, Roger Maynor. His night appears to be done. He has some left front suspension damage, so we're hoping that maybe he can get that repaired and recover and get back on the racetrack, because we love our out-of-towners who've made this big, long trek to get here to the World Championship.
That's right. Roger's got a great crew back there. They're going to take a look at it, I'm sure, and try to get him back out into the fight. He had some issues with some damage last night. He went over to Jack Dawsey Jr.'s shop. Their team helped him out getting it fixed. Racers helping racers. It's just a true honor to have a legend like Roger Maynor in our World Figure 8 Championship here tonight.
All right. Pace truck has pulled off. The green flag flies. We're back underway with R.J. Norton Jr. leading the 72 of Curtis McMurtry for the lead of this 34th edition of the greatest figure 8 race on the planet.
These 2 former Jake's 150 winners used to be teammates out here at the Indianapolis Speedrome, piling up a lot of wins. Now they run 1-2 in this race. They're hoping to survive the crossover, and for Curtis go to the victory lane for the 3rd time. Norton looking for that first win.
The 3rd car in that train is Doug Gregg, so seems like he's got the horsepower back under himself, and he's going fast. He wants to get one of those laps back that he lost, does the 2007 World Figure 8 champion. Oh my goodness, here we go! Oh, Robbie Loving in front of 8 cars. How did he do it?
Yeah, that was truly amazing right there. Shows the skill of a veteran and a little bit of luck thrown in for good measure.
109 laps. This time by for R.J. Norton Jr. He'll get through the crossover cleanly in front of 4 cars. Does it? Oh my goodness, Curtis McMurtry did not get through the crossover that time. He does, though, cleanly. I don't know how, once again, these drivers make it through. Oh, a big crossover crash. Oh my goodness, the 2 number 16s and the number 1 of Jay Hinson. Robbie Loving, Jeff Harmon, and Jay Hinson all crash in the crossover in this 34th annual World Figure 8 Championship on lap 110. 58 minutes, 20 seconds complete. A big, hard crash, Scott Nye.
Truly a United Nations of crossover crashes right there. As a driver from Michigan, a driver from Kentucky, and a driver from California were all wadded up right there at the crossover.
So Jeff Harmon looks like he's moving, but a lot of damage on his machine there. See the bumpers askew. Both front tires seem to be messed up. Robbie Loving got hit on the left side door, the driver's side door.
You can see on there that the rear end looks like it's bent a little bit. Hit square right there in the driver's door. Big solid car there. Good safety built into those machines. Robbie right there took some heavy licks right there at the crossover.
Well, we're going to have to get these cars off of the track. We're going to take a quick timeout and reset and give you more of the stats and the call of this 34th edition of the greatest figure eight race on the planet. This is the 2010 World Figure Eight Championship on the World Figure Eight Network.